For example, last year I had a maximum speed for 75 kilometers per hour. That's the maximum top speed in downhill. Same speed as I had with the old chair, but in tailwind. And last year we had headwind, so I think it's really a difference. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Chris Waddell. Welcome to Living It, the podcast where we join experts in the experience of being human. Be bold. Say yes to adventure. Say yes to living it. Hey, this is Chris Waddell. We are going to talk to probably the guy who is changing wheelchair racing right now. So 4 gold medals in Tokyo, then including the marathon, then went and won Berlin, London, Boston, New York in the major series. Then Oida broke a world record, 117.47 that had stood for 22 years, breaking your countryman Heinz Fry's record. Then just recently in Dubai went 9:32.32 for a 5K, which is absolutely incredible. Had 3/4 of a lap on the rest of the field. Marcel Hug, thank you very much for joining us. Welcome.
Hi, Chris. Thank you for having me. It's a great pleasure.
This is wonderful. So we did get to talk right at the beginning. I mean, I was looking at Boston because Boston, obviously, I feel like Boston owes you a little bit of something right now because you missed the second to last turn last year, had to turn around, were 8 seconds off of breaking the course record, 8 seconds away from a $50,000 bonus, which I'd imagine was a little bit painful. So, but then you just said that you have coronavirus, and so you're going great. You've got this big race. What is going on right now in your mind?
Oh, it's difficult. What's going on in my mind? Yeah, I was in great shape, and then sadly I got coronavirus at the last days. So at the moment I stay at home. Luckily it's not too bad. I got a little cold, but it's not too bad. But at the moment I stay at home, have no training, just try to recover, and I hope I can come back to training soon. I also hope that I can make it to Boston. Hope I can make the travel and stuff, but at the moment I don't know what's the plan, but I'm really looking forward.
So you were saying that your quarantine would end on the 13th of April and then potentially fly on the 14th of April to Boston to race on the 18th. Is that if everything works the way that it's supposed to?
Yeah, in Switzerland we don't have really a quarantine now anymore, but I got a certification that I fully recover. Should be on 13th of April. That's correct, and the flight is on 14th. But I think if I'm informed correctly, I have to do one more test 24 hours before the flight. So yeah, I hope everything goes well and the test will be okay until the flight. So I don't know, but yeah, I have to take it how it is.
Well, I mean, that's part of being an athlete too, right? Things are going to go wrong. You have to figure out how to deal with whatever goes wrong. And how can we take a step back? Because looking at what you've done, I mean, obviously you rose. I remember seeing you as a young kid with the silver helmet, the silver bullet thing, starting on, and you had some of the big guys, the big Swiss guys with like Heinz Fry and Franz Niedelspach, who were kind of in front of you, but coming onto the scene. And then you've risen to the top of the world. But then at 35 and now 36, you've gone to an entirely different level where you're rewriting what's going on in the sport. How have you been able to do that in your mid 30s? What has happened?
That's a good question. I really don't know. Last year was just a crazy year for me with the Tokyo Paralympics. It was just a great year for me. So many things happened. In the beginning, with the Paralympics, I was in great shape. I had a new wheelchair, which definitely gave me a big boost, which is a great thing, which was a great project to be involved for me. So yeah, that was a great thing and gave me a boost also mentally. And then it came one step after another. I had one race coming to next race and everything went perfect. So I got a lot of confidence too, I guess. And yeah, I I had so much luck also. I never had an accident. I was healthy so far until now. I got corona, but I was healthy all the time. Material was great. Yeah, everything was fitting together perfectly. So
Well, fitting together perfectly. I mean, you're saying, and it feels a little understated in terms of how you're saying that it fit together perfectly. Like watching you in the final lap of the 5,000 in Tokyo, where Brent was in lane one, Daniel had come up into lane two. You looked like you were in a really bad position, starting 400 going into 300. And then by the time you got to the last 100 meters, you were right there and walked away from the rest of the group. I mean, it looked like you looked entirely different than everybody else in that pack. It looked easy and it just looked fast and almost looked cartoon-like in how much the distinction was right there. It was really impressive. Is the chair a part of that? You mentioned your new chair, and I've done a little bit of research on your chair, working with a Formula One company, working with a federation in Switzerland. How did that process work, developing this new chair, and what does it do for you?
yeah, for me, the opportunity to be involved in this project was just a great chance for me, and I'm really happy and proud that I was involved and very thankful. I was able to work with such great persons together, and they supported me and the project, so it was really nice. And yeah, we tried to work hard in this project the last few years because the postponement of the Paralympics, we had one more year to work on it. And yeah, we tried to improve many things of the racing wheelchair. So one thing was the aerodynamic. We did some testings in the wind tunnel as well to improve the aerodynamic. We tried to make it more stiffer, the chair more stiffer, which I definitely feel during during training or competitions. When I drive the chair, it feels different from the stiffness. There's less energy wasting. So, and also we changed the seating position, which definitely also helps, and yeah, feels great. The new sitting position feels great, and I think also it helps to have a better position to bring the power directly into the wheels.
Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned the aerodynamics. So going back to Boston last year, you went from the gun at Boston. Ernst said to Krieg, he said that you pulled an Ernst at the start. Ernst, who won the race 10 times, was used to leaving everybody at the starting line. But you left Ernst, you left Aaron Pike, you left some of these guys who go really well downhill. is your aerodynamic situation, is it that much better now than it was before? That now, because you also don't weigh as much as those two guys.
Yeah, I think there is a difference. Yeah, there is. For example, last year I had a maximum speed for 75 kilometers per hour. That's the maximum top speed in downhill. Same speed as I had with the old chair, but in tailwind. And last year we had headwind. So I think it's really a difference. Yeah.
That's a really big deal if you're going the same speed into a headwind, because you were going for a course record in less than optimal conditions. I mean, you ran the course record back in 17, and I know that those were great conditions because I was actually in that race and ran my fastest, well, my fastest marathon didn't go, mostly downhill, but I know how good those conditions were in 17, and the conditions last year were not very good at all. How about the power? I mean, you talk a bit about the seating position, and it looks like you are on the ring longer and are getting more out of it. Whereas where before, sort of on the clock, you were coming off at like 7 o'clock, and now it looks like you're coming off closer to 9 o'clock on the ring. Is that something with your seating position? And is that actually true? Am I seeing what you're feeling?
I'm not sure if this is a difference from the sitting position. I guess I always had, or tried, at least I tried to have a long push on the rim, push rim, also in another wheelchair. I think that's maybe not a big difference, I think, from the new sitting position.
Okay, interesting. All right, but so breaking OIDA 1:17:47, breaking Heinz Frei's record that had stood for 22 years. What did that mean to you? Because how much was he a mentor to you? And I mean, kind of growing up in this Swiss group, right, where you guys have some dominant athletes, but you don't have a huge team.
Yeah, I mean, this record means really a lot to me, because yeah, it's historic. It's very historic. It's a very old record, more than 20 years old. So yeah, to break this world record is really special, and marathon is it's something, a special distance, which means a lot to me. And yeah, I mean, Heinz is a pioneer in this sport. He's a legend in wheelchair racing, and to break his world record is really something that means a lot to me.
Did he reach out to you when you broke the record? Did you get a message from him or anything?
Not directly, but I saw him at an event afterwards. So, and then he congratulated me. Yeah.
It's got to be pretty amazing. I think that within the wheelchair racing community, most people put Heinz at the top of wheelchair of marathoning, right? Just in terms of who he is, in terms of like level of injury as well, how he pioneered the sport and just did some amazing things and loved to train. What for Boston, and I know right now Boston is very much up in the air for you with regard to coronavirus and all this and everything, but do you have any idea in terms of tactics? I would imagine as you were approaching the race, you were thinking of breaking the course record, but now with coronavirus, maybe not quite as much. But tactically, are you still thinking about trying to take it from the start?
Yeah, it's still my a goal. Yeah, it was a goal to break the course record. It really depends on the weather conditions, from the wind direction. But anyway, I think one key factor is it the downhill, first downhill. It's very important to have yeah, the fastest possible downhill. So I have to put all my energy in this downhill, and then we will see what happens. We'll see how big the group will be, and then yeah, how much energy I have got left also after this coronavirus. So I don't think too much of tactics now, but the downhill will be definitely a key factor in this marathon.
What does that feel like? Like last year, I'd imagine you came into it with a ton of confidence, right? You were coming off so many races, but also Boston was Monday, following Chicago. And following Chicago, you and Daniel Romanchuk had come to that last hill, and he out sprinted you on that last hill to take the only major marathon that you didn't win last year. When you go off the front at the beginning of a Boston, you know that those hills are there somewhere later. What does it feel like as you're going through? Are you worried about that he might be close enough that he could take advantage of those hills, or how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I was just trying to go as fast as possible in the downhill. Yeah, knowing that my chair is good in aerodynamics. And then, yeah, I was just hoping that, yeah, that maybe I can make a gap already after the downhill. And yeah, when I looked back after the downhill, I saw already that I have a big gap, and that there was a relief, of course. And then I think when I have a gap, I just have to try to keep my pace.
But you're not getting any feedback during the race, right? You're not like a cyclist where they have the coach in their ear and the coach is telling them what's going on behind them. You're kind of going and you have no idea. To a certain extent, you might be able to sort of hear when they start cheering for the next person if they're close enough. But for the most part, you're running blind out there. You have no idea. How do you manage that for you? Do you just stay in your plan?
Yeah, exactly. That's a difficult point. You don't know really how much the gap is. Where are you standing? You just see when the gap is growing, and that gives you a lot of confidence, of course, and especially at this point when you don't see the other athletes anymore in the back. That's a good sign. As long as they can see you, it's difficult. So then they are still motivated to catch you again. But once you don't see them anymore, it will be a bigger challenge to catch you. And then it's important just to keep the pace. Not to overpace, of course, but also not to go too easy. Just to hold the pace as much as I can, and have a good feeling, good feedback from your body, and that's important.
Obviously not right now with COVID, but with regard to your training, with regard to your competing, is this the fun time for you? Like at 35, 36 years old, when you've put in all of this work over so many years and you're getting your equipment so dialed in to you, is this the fun part of the most fun part of your career?
You mean right now?
Right now, yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely a special period of my career right now. Yeah, with all these successes, sometimes it really feels like it's unreal, or I'm dreaming, or yeah, how it's possible. It just feels, yeah, really special, and I really enjoy it, because yeah, I know it's it's a really very nice part of the career, but I know it really can change very soon, very quickly. That something happens, or other athletes become more stronger, or have new material as well. So yeah, I try to enjoy the moment, but I'm aware that it can change very soon.
You've won so many things. Are there any goals, like things that you say, I need to do this? I mean, you just broke the 5,000 meter world record. Are there any things that you say, okay, you've broken the marathon world record? Are there any things right now that you're looking at saying, this is my goal for the year? Is it the world major marathon championship? How do you look at this year and say, those are the things that I'm targeting?
Yeah, for this year, for this season, I had 3 targets. One was the 5,000 meter world record, which I already achieved. The other thing was the course record in Boston, which will be now more challenging.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, we'll see. Who knows how it will be. And the third goal is the World Marathon Major Series, to win this series again. So these 3 goals for this year.
Okay, so the 5,000 meter world record, the course record in Boston, and then the world major marathon series, which is Tokyo, London, or Tokyo, Boston, London, Berlin, Chicago, New York. Those 6 marathons, which is amazing. So can we go back just briefly just to the 5K, because I watched the 5K, and you had some great racers in that race in Dubai. I mean, you had like Proat in that race, who's won so many medals throughout the Paralympics, and you went off the front at the beginning. Was that your intention? Was to go off the front at the beginning of the 5K? I mean, you had like 5-10 meters in the first lap, stayed kind of like that for 800, and then you just started opening it up. Was that your plan all along? Because it was phenomenal to watch.
Yeah, to be honest, it was the decision made just at the start line to do like this. I knew, or I was thinking that it will be possible in these conditions, in these weather conditions, and in my shape, that it will be possible to break the world record again. I broke the record a few days before in Sharjah as well, and I was thinking that it is possible to make it even faster, because the conditions, the weather conditions in Sharjah was not as good as in Dubai. It was more windy, and so I thought it might be possible to break the record again, but I didn't know exactly how it will be possible, because tactically it will be difficult when you have a group together, and yeah, it should work together and change the lead and everything. There's so many factors which are difficult, or should be yeah, just work. And then at the start line, I decided to try to have a fast start, and maybe, or I hoped that maybe I have a faster start than the other athletes. And then once, when I have a gap, as well, as I said before in the marathon, I think when I have a gap, I just try to hold my pace, and I knew what speed I had to race for the world record. So I tried to hold this speed, and yeah, it was
Which is
possible.
amazing. And I mean, there are benefits each way, right? The thing is, if you go on your own, you're not pulling somebody along who can then sprint around you and take the world
Exactly.
record without having to do all of the work necessarily. But at the same, but the other side of that is that if you're all alone, you don't have any help. You can't take a rest at all during the race. And that to me was the most impressive part, is that one, it's speaking about your fitness, that you have that fitness, your confidence, that you have the confidence in your fitness, which sometimes can be, if your confidence erodes, you burn more energy that way as well. If you're uncertain about your ability, it seems like you get more tired. But just your willingness to put it all on the line and go fast. So it was really, really impressive to watch that. Well, Marcel, thank you for joining us even when you're sick. I hope, do you feel okay? Or did you test positive, or are you actually not feeling well too?
I feel okay. I feel not really fit. I got cold and I don't feel in very good shape. But I feel okay, and I looking forward to get well very soon.
Okay, well, we hope that you recover quickly and that you don't lose all of this spectacular shape that you have created over the last years. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for taking the time. Good luck. We hope to see you in Boston. I mean, fingers crossed, and get well soon. So
Thank you
thank
very
you.
much. Thank you for
And thank
having
you to
me.
all of you for listening in. I hope you've enjoyed this. The greatest gift you can give us is to tell your friends, to follow us, to like us, tell people to tune in, and they'll get a great story. So we look forward to seeing the rest of you as well. Thank you for joining us. Please subscribe to Chris Waddell Living It for more stories on the adaptive community, the Paralympics, artists, athletes, entrepreneurs, experts in the experience of being human. Also follow us on Spotify, Apple, Facebook, and Instagram. I look forward to seeing you next week.